If I told you that absolutely everything you experience today, your debts, achievements, relationships, health, is the result of the frequency you are vibrating at, would you believe me? I'm not talking about magic, but physics. Einstein said, everything is energy, and that is all there is. Now, what if I told you that you can change this frequency, and by doing so, change absolutely everything in your life? Are you ready for this conversation? Do you want to know why your life doesn't change? Why, despite trying, you keep repeating the same patterns, the same problems, the same results? I tell you now, it's because you are vibrating at the same frequency as always. Everything vibrates, your body, your thoughts, your words, your emotions. And if you keep vibrating the same way, you will keep attracting the same things. I learned this the hard way when my life was a mess. I was broke, sick, without direction, cleaning floors to survive. Yet there was something inside me, something that insisted, whispered, "You were born for more than this." I followed that whisper. That's when everything started to change, because I understood that the frequency you emit is the reality you attract. People often say they want to change their life, more money, a better relationship, health, peace. But when you ask, what frequency are you vibrating at today, they don't know. The truth is, you don't attract what you want. You attract what you are. And what you are is determined by the vibration you maintain, consciously or unconsciously. Have you ever wondered why some people seem lucky all the time, while others, no matter how hard they try, keep stumbling over the same problems? It's not luck, it's frequency. The lucky ones have learned, even unknowingly, to align their thoughts and emotions with what they desire. They vibrate at the frequency of abundance, health, and love, while most are stuck in frequencies of scarcity, fear, guilt, and doubt. Have you ever woken up on a day when everything goes wrong? You spill your coffee, miss the bus, argue with someone in traffic, and it feels like the universe is against you. What were you feeling before it all started? Because often it's not the events that ruin your day, but your vibration that begins to attract those events. One ordinary night I was alone in a room, my mind weighed down with debts, and I thought, if everything is vibration, then I must change my vibration right now, no matter what my eyes see. I closed my eyes and pictured what it would be like to live the life of my dreams. I felt it deeply, I believed it, and even for just a few minutes at first, my vibration shifted, and that changed everything. It wasn't an overnight change, but from that moment everything began to shift. A new frequency, a new life. Can you recall the last time you truly felt abundant, even if just for a moment, when everything seemed to align as if the universe was conspiring in your favor? That wasn't luck. That was you vibrating on the right frequency, even if you didn't realize it. And the secret is, you can do it consciously. You can train yourself through repetition, visualization, and emotion. That's what shifts your frequency and your life. Maybe you're thinking, I've tried, but it feels like something inside me sabotages it. That something is your paradigm, your old mental programming that keeps you stuck. Imagine your mind like an old radio tuned to the station of scarcity, always broadcasting, I can't, I'm not enough, it's impossible. On the other side is the prosperity station playing, I am capable, I deserve, it is already done. But you keep turning the dial back to the same frequency. What I'm saying is, keep the dial in the right place. Persist even when it seems like nothing is changing, because it is. Vibration comes before manifestation, and everything you need is already waiting for you at the right frequency. Look around. Everything you see was first created in the invisible. A thought, an emotion, a vibration. The airplane, the phone, the music you hear, this very video you're watching, all began as an idea charged with emotion and became reality. You can do the same with anything you desire: money, health, relationships, purpose, freedom, but you must take responsibility for the frequency you emit. If you want to change your life, don't look outside first. Look inside and ask yourself, what vibration am I living in and where is it leading me? When you change your vibration, you change your destiny. Neville Goddard said that you are limited only by the weakness of your focus and the poverty of your imagination. And this is truer than you might think. Most people have scattered attention, jumping from problem to problem, from fear to fear, without steady direction or control over their minds. When they use their imagination, it is often to create scenes of tragedy, failure, and rejection, using a divine gift to destroy their own future. But this is not their fault. It is conditioning and programming that taught them dreaming big is arrogance. Many gifted people with extraordinary potential shrink from life because they believe they are not good enough and live trapped inside a distorted mirror. The truth is that inside you is a divine spark, a living, powerful, creative energy. You are a being of light made in the image of infinite intelligence. The greatest humility is not to diminish yourself, but to recognize this divine nature within you and express it fully. How many times have you sabotaged yourself because deep down you thought you did not deserve success? How many chances have you missed doubting your worth? You were not born to fit the world's expectations, but to express your most authentic self. People told me, be realistic, accept things as they are, but inside I felt I was more than that. I learned that the thoughts I chose influenced how I felt, and those feelings shaped my reality, so everything changed. I stopped seeing myself as a failure with a hard past and began seeing myself as a powerful creator who makes decisions. You are not your mistakes, your bank account, or what others say about you. You are energy in motion, pure consciousness, and when you realize this, something awakens. There is nothing you cannot change if you begin to vibrate in harmony with the truth of who you are. This is real alignment, not empty positive thinking. When I started seeing myself differently, the world around me changed too. Opportunities appeared, the right people came, because the biggest change happened inside me. Perhaps what limits you most is not a lack of time, money, or support, but rather a lack of awareness about who you truly are. The truth is that your outer life will never be greater than the image you hold inside. I have met brilliant entrepreneurs who lived in fear of bankruptcy, incredible artists who doubted their own talent, beautiful people who felt invisible, all because they were never taught to see their greatness. So now at this moment, I invite you to do this. Look inside, listen to this call, rewrite your self-image. Begin to see yourself as the extraordinary being you were born to be. It does not matter what has happened to you so far. None of that defines your destiny. What defines it is what you will do now with this awareness. You are not small, you are not limited. You are not ordinary, you are infinite in potential. And when you decide to live according to this truth, nothing, absolutely nothing can stop you. People believe they think, but the truth is few really do. They merely react. They confuse mental activity with true thinking. And this confusion keeps most people living on autopilot, harvesting results they do not understand, wishing for changes that never come. True thinking is an art. It is a skill, it is an act of conscious creation. And believe me, it is the first step to transform any area of your life. I learned this in a brutal way. When I began my journey, I barely knew what it meant to use the mind. I spent entire days busy, worrying, reacting, chasing time, dealing with problems, and fooling myself into thinking I was thinking. But what I was doing, like most people do, was repeating patterns. I let my five senses control me. What I saw, heard, felt, all dictated my mood, behavior, and results. I decided to dive deeply into understanding the mind, creative thinking, vibration, and frequency, because the more I studied, the more I realized that experience is what truly gives certainty. Knowledge informs you, but experience transforms you. Thinking means choosing what to focus on. Thinking is observing reality without becoming its prisoner. It is visualizing what you want, even when everything around you seems contrary. Thinking is creating with purpose. When you start truly thinking, you separate yourself from the crowd. Most people react to the news, their bank balance, social media, and others' opinions. But those who think with purpose create their own reality. Have you noticed that the most successful people don't follow the crowd? They don't compare themselves, they decide. They maintain focus. They think independently and develop this skill over time with intention and practice. You can do it too. One of the greatest tools is imagination, yet most people use it against themselves. They imagine the worst, create fearful scenarios, visualize failure, and the universe responds accordingly. If you understood the power of your imagination, you would never allow it to work against you. Everything you have experienced was imagined by you at some level. Vibration is not mystical. It is pure energy, physics. Einstein said, "Match the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but attract it." This is not a self-help phrase, it is science. Every thought generates a frequency, and you attract only what is in harmony with it. That's why learning to think not as a reaction but as a conscious decision is so important. When you decide what to think, you change your vibration and start attracting ideas, people, and opportunities previously off your radar. Once, a consultant told me success is 5% strategy and 95% mindset, and that struck me deeply. A paradigm is like a mental program installed in you before you even knew who you were. It is a set of beliefs, patterns, and habits that almost invisibly control 95% of what you do every day. You wake up, think the same kinds of thoughts, feel the same emotions, make the same decisions, and by the end of the day, you harvest the same results. Your conscious mind says, "I want to change," but your subconscious, programmed by years of repetition, replies, "No, this is comfortable, this is familiar, stay where you are." The scariest part? This paradigm was not created by you. It was shaped by your parents, teachers, childhood experiences, and the environment where you grew up. When you were a child, your mind was like fertile soil, open and receptive. Everything you were told about money, love, success, and failure was absorbed without question. Now you are an adult, trying to live an extraordinary life with an internal program that shouts scarcity, fear, and limitation. This is why many intelligent and hardworking people stay stuck in the same place. They think they lack motivation or need to study more. What they really need is reprogramming, because the paradigm controls how you react, act, and feel. I experienced this myself. I was earning a lot of pounds sterling, but inside there was a program telling me I wasn't good enough, and this wasn't for me. Without realizing it, I began sabotaging everything, wasting money, taking unnecessary risks, and making impulsive decisions. One day in London, I stopped and wondered, how did this happen? How did I go from a miserable life to an empire without even knowing how? At that moment, the realization hit me. My paradigm had changed because I had started feeding it with new ideas, repetition, and new emotions. But only when I consciously understood this process did I gain control over it. Real change begins when you realize your subconscious mind can't tell the difference between what is real and what is imagined, accepting whatever you repeat with emotion. If you started life with a scarcity paradigm, you can install one of abundance through repetition, feeling, and visualization again and again. He will try to convince you that now is not the right time, that it is risky, and that you have already tried before. He will use your fears, past experiences, and comparisons with others to make you give up before you even start, because he was designed to protect you. But protecting is not the same as freeing. You were not made to merely survive, but to expand, grow, and create. So I tell you now, watch your results, because they are a reflection of your paradigm. If you want to know what you truly believe about money, love, success, and health, look at your life. You will never have something your paradigm rejects. No matter how much you say you want it, your subconscious always wins. Here is the turning point. You can change this and create a new paradigm. The key is emotional repetition. Write your new reality. Feel as if it is already true, visualize, and give thanks as if you have already received it. Make this a lifestyle. Each time you repeat this process intentionally, you install a new programming that over time becomes automatic and natural. So I did this for years. Every day I carried a card with my goal in my pocket. Every time I touched the card, my mind was reminded of the image I wanted to create, and over time that image became more real than the reality around me, until it finally materialized. So I ask you now, what paradigm is holding you back? What does it tell you every day without you realizing it? And most importantly, are you willing to reprogram it? Because if you are, the life you have always dreamed of is already waiting for you. It exists on a frequency your old self cannot reach, but your new self can and will if you decide to. Because in the end, changing your paradigm is deciding that the story you were told is no longer the story you will live, and beginning day by day to write a new one. Your true story. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. And what you are is determined by the frequency you vibrate at, the images you hold in your mind, and the emotions you nurture every day. When you deeply understand this, not just intellectually but with feeling, you hold the key to open any door, whether financial, emotional, spiritual, or professional. Thank you for walking with me this far. I'll see you in the next video.